Dear brothers and sisters, today I am here with you to share with a very important subject. The subject is mind, brain and memory. Memorization is one of the biggest faculty of human being. Sometimes the memory is being problematic too. Loss of memory, lack of memory creates a lot of problem in individual as well as in the society. But the thing is, we all are always in dilemma and confusion about one thing, that is whether the mind and the brain is the same. According to the present science, mind is the chemical output of the brain. It means the present physicist, biologist, they don't have clear concept about the brain and the mind. It is the general concept that the brain and the mind is the same. A scientist, Dr. Freud, he said, no, the brain and mind is different thing. Brain is made up corporeal elements, carbonic elements like cells, cellulose, brain fibers, nerves, neurons, neurofluids, neurotransmitters. This all makes our brain, human brain. Or you can say the entire brain, it is made up cerebral. Or you can say the entire brain is cerebral. But mind and the brain is completely different. The diseases of mind and the brain is completely different. Mind doesn't have its corporeal structure or organic structure. Mind has got its abstract structure. Or we cannot say abstract, but we can say is it non-material. At the same time, we can say it is a subtle one. It is the subtler than atoms and subatomic particles. It is subtler than the energy of atom and subatomic particles. Mind has got its independent functions and functionalities. According to spiritual science, or according to Ananda Murthy, he said, mind is made of 3 elements. Those elements are Chitta, Aham and Mahat. Chitta can be said in English, done I. Aham, the part of ego, can be doing or doer I. This doer and done, this 2 part is called objectivated part of mind. And beyond this objectivated mind, there is another subjective part. Subjective part means it witnesses the objectivity. Witnessing counterpart is called subjective mind. That is called Mahat Tattva. I witness, I do. So in our mind, there are two parts. One is witnessing, another is witnessed. So witnessed part is called objectivated mind, and witnessing part is subjectivated mind. Subject controls the object. So in this way, subjectivated and objective mind combinedly makes human mind. And subject and object, it is of three kinds, that is chitta, ahang and mahat. At the same time, mind has got three stages. One is conscious, or you can say crude. Second one is subtle, or stage of dream. A third one is the causal, cause of everything. Or you can say the bed of knowledge, or the cause of knowledge, or a storehouse of knowledge. That we can say the causal mind. So now we understood what is brain and what is mind. What is cerebral and what is non-cerebral. Mind is non-cerebral. It has got no cerebral structure. So it is non-cerebral. And then what is memory? Memory is a recreation, a recollection of images already experienced by our nerve cells through our sensory organs. So whatever we see in this universe, whatever we perceive in this universe, that is perceived by our indriyas or sensory organs. And sensory organs collect information from the world, and it creates an image in our nerve cells, in our brain cells, in our ectoplasmic stuff in the brain. So, whatever happening, these are stored in our brain cells. So, whenever it is required, we recreate the same images as we perceived. This recollection is called memory. But this memory, it is limited with the cerebra. So, confined with the cerebra, and it remains for few days, few hours, few seconds, like this. Suppose you are asked about what you have eaten 3 days before in your lunch. You cannot, may or may not be able to say exactly what you have eaten 3 days before. When you are asked, then you need to recollect those things. What I have, oh yes, I have eaten such and such. Oh yeah, that is, I have eaten such and such thing. Why it takes so long time? Because those things are deleted from your brain. But the nature of brain is to transport those informations, images, through electromagnetic wave to the chitta. Means that it is the mind. And chitta transports it into subconscious mind. That is the subtle mind. And the subtle mind transports it to the causal mind. So ultimately, whatever we do, all things are accumulated. All images, frequencies are it is collected and deposits in the subtle causal mind. So the images and the information which is collected in causal mind, it is called, when we recreate it, our image, this is called extra-cerebral memory. The memory which is beyond the periphery or brain, and it comes under the domain of mind, that is called extra-cerebral memory. So what happens? When we sleep, then our crude mind, that is the conscious mind, that suspends, that sleeps, but causal mind activates. But when that causal mind sleeps, that you can say it is the death. Karan manasi dirgha nidra maranam. It means when your causal mind dies or sleeps for a long time, for eternal time, that is called death. That time, this body loses its equilibrium from your mind. The balance is lost. Body dies with this corporal structure. Even the brain, it dies. It dissolves with the 5 fundamental factors. That is solid, igneous, liquid, aerial, and ethereal. But your mind is the non-corporeal structure, the causal mind with its extra-cerebral memory, and the soul that floats in this cosmos. Mind with its extra-cerebral memory, reactive momenta, and soul floats in the mind, in the cosmos, in this cosmology, to express, to manifest its reactive momenta. And it gets a proper structure according to its vibration. It gets a new base, a new structure according to its vibration. And this settlement or adjustment, it is made by the Rajoguna or mutative power of nature. It helps to adjust, to find the new structure. So you, after death, you may get a structure of animals. You may get a structure of flora, fauna. You may get a degenerated structure. At the same time, if your vibrations, if your reactive momenta are good, then you can have a good human structure, a better human structure, evolved human structure. When you have a rebirth, then you have two things: your new body with its cerebra and your old mind. So old mind needs some time to adjust with the new cerebral, that is the brain, new body, new structure. So what happens? A baby from the age of 1 to age of 5, you can say they remembers all the past, all the incident, all the happenings, sorrow, agony, love, affection, they remember. So you might have seen the small baby sleeping, smiling, laughing. So mothers and the parents says, this a baby is talking with a God. The fact is not talking with a God, but they remember the past. Sometimes they laugh, sometimes they cry, sometimes they jump out of fear, remembering all the old happenings, the past happenings. But what happens as the new baby slowly they comes closer to this world, they find the new world, and they start to ask thousands of questions as if they do not know anything. What is this? Why it is this? When it is this? The parents become puzzled. Why this boy is asking so question? It is not his problem. It is not his problem. He want to know the world. He want to be involved with the world by knowing the things. Each and every human has attachment to the world. So when he come to this world, he want to know the world through the queries. Gradually, the old mind get attached to his cerebral, that is the brain, and through the brain get attachment with the body. So slowly, when the crude mind activates, the subtle mind sleeps. So what happens? By the activation of crude mind through the brain, the causal and the subtle mind sleeps or suspended. We cannot see their function. So forgetfulness, to forget the past, according to Anandamurti ji, it says the providential decree. Providential decree. It means forgetfulness is the blessing of the God, because for human being it is difficult to carry the pain, pleasure, agony of one life. But if it is the pain and pleasure of many lifetimes, it becomes burdens, it becomes horrible to carry out for a human being. So God has given a special decree. That decree is to forget everything and start with a new life. But when a person enters at the age of 12 with the past memory, it becomes more difficult for them to remain in this world, because their body is matured and they have two minds, one mind of the present life and another mind of the past. Both classes together, the happiness, sorrow, agony of present and past classes together. Ultimately, a man who remembers past at the age of 12 or 13, they become lunatics, they lose the balance, or sometimes they die. So to protect this negative happenings, what one should do? One should do sadhana. One should enter the realm of sadhana. By sadhana, by dint of sadhana, by dint of spiritual practice, by dint of intuitional practice, a man can sustain his crude mind to subtle mind, and subtle mind into causal mind. And when they suspend into causal mind, he or she sees that the sanskaras of many lifetimes are deposited layer by layer, or he or she can see the many lifetimes. It is only possible by dint of sadhana. By dint of sadhana, suspending the crude mind into conscious, or you can say subtle mind, and subtle mind into the causal mind. By suspending everything, we can see and we can become omniscience. Or when through the process of suspending crude mind to subtle mind, subtle into causal, the memory becomes more of permanent nature. It is not like cerebral memory. It forgets everything, but it becomes more stable. The memory becomes more stable, more stable, more stable. And that memory when becomes stable, that is called Dhruva Smriti. Dhruva Smriti, permanent memory. Means you cannot forget everything, you don't forget everything. You remember everything at the same time. That pinnacle order of mind, when memory becomes the permanent, the nature of permanent memory, they remembers only that supreme is the goal of life, and he cannot forget. His mind is completely suspended with that supreme. That's why he is called Dhruva. Means that he merged with his goal, suspend everything unto that supreme wood. And you might have seen an example of Vivekananda. When Vivekananda was reading a book in a library somewhere in America, he was just touching the pages and turning of the pages. And the librarian asked, "Man, you were just touching, what is this?" Then Vivekananda asked, "Okay, you may ask a question from any pages or any quotations." So when he was asked by the librarian, Vivekananda used to answer very frequently without any second thought. So that is a kind of memory of a permanent nature, Dhruva Smriti. So the memory of cerebral memory and extra-cerebral memory, this all depends on your sensory organ. To have a proper memory, to have a developed memory, your sensory organs, your motor organs should be well formed, well cleaned, well designed through proper food, proper yogasana, proper fasting. Then there will be no disturbance in the flow of your senses. If your sensory organ doesn't work properly, you cannot collect the proper information from the world. And if it is disturbed, your brain will not get a proper information. If your cerebra, that brain doesn't get proper information, your mind cannot get the proper information. So you cannot have a proper memory. So to get a proper memory, a permanent memory, your physical body, your sensory organs, your motor organs should be in order, in proper order, through the proper practices. Then alone the cerebral memory can be extra-cerebral memory, and extra-cerebral memory can be converted into Dhruva Smriti. And one thing you should remember, a man of strong extra-cerebral memory, when he takes rebirth, he becomes genius. Or you can say a man of technician in one life become genius in next life. So whatever we see in this world, a man, a children is very genius. It is not of his practices of his own one life. It is the practices of his past life. So memory, power, it depends on the function of your nerves, nerve cells, your senses, everything. At the same time, the concentration of mind is very much needed. To develop a proper concentration, the dhyana kriya or sadhana is the prime factor. By dint of yoga practices, yoga sadhana and yogasana, and the following the instructions of all instructions of yoga, we can have a proper memory, and better life, better society. So in this way, we can just upgrade the standard of human life through extra-cerebral memory. Thank you so much. Namaskaram. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, please write it in my YouTube channel description box, your message box, or you can subscribe my YouTube channel so that the videos promoted and you can get further information of latest videos. Thank you so much. Namaskaram.